Oh, Twitter, the place of sunshine and rainbows, where people are nice for the sake of being nice. There's no misinformation, there's no disinformation. Everything is just wonderful. Okay, yeah, no, I'm joking. It's Twitter. It's literally the worst place in the world. Although I still, to this day, stand by my take that Twitter is one of the most powerful tools that humans have ever been given, the ability to spread information instantaneously through minimal text. I mean, that's the problem, the minimal text, but the ability to just be like, this is what's happening right here, right now. You don't need to read an essay. You don't need to wait 30 minutes for a video to get anywhere. You just tweet it out and it's there and the whole world can know what's going on. And that technology is incredible. But this video isn't just about Twitter. This video is about the news that's coming out that the coronavirus, the Pfizer vaccine, is now FDA approved. So people on Twitter are screaming in all capitals, go get vaccinated. But let's see some of these arguments that people are making for why it is that now the FDA has approved the Pfizer vaccine, why people should be going to get it. I'm just going to start with loving that Know the Facts, Department of Health and Human Services at HHS.gov. I'm fine with it. Twitter, it's like, okay, you're going to put some authority at the very top of this trend, just so people don't go and scroll and find completely nonsensical information, because at least they're kind of aware that, yeah, a Twitter trend like this is probably going to be filled with nonsense, and they need to have some authoritative source at the top. Now, I just have a problem with, like, why is HHS.gov? Like, there's plenty of authoritative sources that have been wrong before, which we'll get to with the FDA, but let's just quickly read, because it's funny. So, this guy, Jimmy Darko, quote, "It isn't even FDA regulated." Well, it is now. Didn't have to say the word there. You can read it. Go get vaccinated, you stupid hoe. Like, so you're really nice. You're totally not an authoritarian. Just, telling someone, okay, you have to go get it now. Here you go, you non-FDA approved anti-vaxxers. Go get vaccinated. Okay, like, the idea that these people think that just like every single person who was waiting for FDA approval, someone's going to get it. They don't understand that people can have individual reasons and individual choices and, just genuinely think for themselves. These are the kinds of people who don't think for themselves. They just go, well, the FDA has told me, the CDC has told me, the TV has told me, CNN has told me, Twitter, the trend has told me. They'll go and see the trend, go get vaccinated. They'll see all these people who aren't making arguments. They're just being like, go get vaccinated. You said it was going to be one the FDA regulate. Like, they just don't have an argument. They just follow the mass of the woke, the Twitter woke mass. And I call it a mass because I basically view it as a big glob that's just existing. It doesn't have a face. There's no one leader. It's just this glob of humans in, like, flesh moving around. It's basically like the monster in Stranger Things season 3. That basically is what we're seeing on Twitter right now. But I don't want to just, rant and go down the Twitter threads here and talk about all the stupid people and how they don't make actual arguments. They're just saying, go get vaccinated. What I want to do is read some stuff and look at some stuff. So this is from Harvard EDU in January 28th, 2000. But the title, Protecting the Ignorant, the Unthinking, the Credulous, are the FDA's efforts to accelerate the drug approval process compromising public safety. So, not that I'm going to question the FDA's approval. That's not me. I'm not a scientist of that level. I'm not trying to sit here and say what you should or shouldn't do. I'm basically trying to sit here and say you should think for yourself. And here is an entire paper, granted it was written in 2000, about the times that the FDC has decided, or FDA, I'm sorry, has decided to rush through things. Right here, however, the FDA, however, did impose restrictions on treatment INDs. This is talking about AIDS. When the initiative makes drugs available in phase 2 stage, it applies to drugs intended for the treatment of immediately life-threatening and serious diseases for which no satisfactory therapy is available at the stage. In addition, the agency imposes restrictions on the sponsor company. The sponsor must exercise due diligence in completing the clinical trials and investigation of the drug. In addition, the sponsor may charge for the drug to recover costs, but it may not commercialize its product. The legislation marked for the first formal procedure that allowed patients to decide for themselves whether they would rather bear the risk of unproven treatment or struggle with an untreatable disease. Also goes up to... where was it? Alright, there's somewhere else in this paper you can see, though, again, the title. I'll highlight it so if you wanted to search it, you can find it yourself. But it talks about how people were basically climbing the walls to go and the public was demanding that we have drugs come out in solutions. And that's what was going on here. The public demanded, they was basically, we're going to be in lockdown until we get a vaccine and a way to solve this problem. So of course the public's going to be like, well, we could lock down for years and years until we guarantee that these things are as safe as possible, or we could rush it out, rush through the approval, and get emergency approval, jab it in millions and millions of people's arms, and then worry about the problems later on. I'm going to go to this article right here, and now, I promise I'm not trying to make an equivalency between a lot of the stuff, the approval of the Pfizer vaccine, and, say, the partially hydrogenated oil, but this is just an example of all the times the FDA, because wasn't the Food and Drug Administration, to me that they seem like they should be very separate. They shouldn't go hand in hand, but they do in America for whatever reason. But these are just things that they have approved and then been like, oh, maybe we shouldn't. Partially hydrogenated oil, trans fats, the fats that just become solid at room temperature. Foods containing flame retardants. Yeah, isn't it what is it? Fireball has antifreeze in it. I think Mountain Dew has something else in it, but we're literally drinking antifreeze in very small amounts, though. Olein or olestra in fat-free foods. So this was a chemical that basically stopped your body from absorbing fats, and so you would have diarrhea like crazy because your body couldn't absorb nutrients. And caramel coloring, it's a carcinogen. RBGH and dairy, all these just different things that we as humans, they solve a problem right then and there, and then 10 years down the line we discover, oh yeah, you could drink the caramel coloring, but then as it builds up in your liver, in your body over the course of 10 plus years, it ends up being a carcinogen. Or the olestra. Oh yeah, well it stops you from gaining weight. Yeah, because it stops your body from absorbing nutrients that it needs. We love to come out with solutions that frankly might cause problems later on, but what we solved the problem right then and there, my favorite example, all time, I use it always when I'm talking to people. Before we came out with Xanax, do you know what the drug that people would be prescribed if they were anxious was? It was alcohol. Oh, you're feeling a little anxious today, Sally? Here, drink a fifth of vodka. It was just ridiculous. I mean, people would just be drunk all the time. Then they came out with this drug, Xanax, and it was discovered, and they're like, basically is no downside. It's non-addictive. Anxiety disappears, and yeah, it does. Until, of course, years and years later, we've discovered, oh, it's actually incredibly addictive, arguably worse for you, and affects your brain more than alcohol. We came out with a solution, solved anxiety with air quotes, and now we actually discover it can make anxiety worse. There's so many bad things that go along with Xanax, but that's just the FDA and humans coming out with a solution and finding out it's not that good. This right here, actually, I'll start with this one because the last thing I want to talk about in this video and what I want to end on is vaccine hesitancy. Because why is it that people are hesitant? Well, right here, education level now prime driver of COVID vaccine hesitancy. This is a poll from February 26, 2021 on usnews.com. Now, what they'll say is basically education. The more educated you are, the more likely it is that you'll be getting a vaccine because you understand what they're doing. You understand that vaccines are safe and work and just are the best things since sliced bread, because that's what the media wants you to believe. They want you to believe there's literally nothing that can go wrong. These things are, again, the best thing since sliced bread. Just go get it in your arm. Oh, now that you need a booster, even though that wasn't what they said before, it was basically just get the 2 in there and you're done. Now you're going to get another one. They constantly are changing the goalpost, and that's when I'm like, 2 experimental shots were bad enough. Now you just want to start getting people shots in their arm, every 8 months, I think it is now. They say every 8 months because you'll lose antibodies and effectiveness of the vaccine. So we're just going to keep jabbing people with stuff that we have never used before. Seems to me just a little bit, I'll take my chance, I'm going to wait off a little bit, but education level. They'll say that, well, it's just if you're educated, we need to get more people educated. If more people had bachelor's and master's degrees, they'd be getting it. Notice, though, I don't say PhDs there. And this article is basically framed to say, we need more educated people, that's why people aren't getting the vaccine. Well, what about this one right here? The most vaccine hesitant group of all, PhDs. And yes, In a poll of 5 million people, I believe, where was it? Yep, researchers analyzed more than survey responses by a range of different demographic details of who would probably or definitely not choose to get vaccinated as vaccine hesitant. And what they found was that of educated people, yes, people without high school degrees. It's kind of like the meme where it's like the very, very, really stupid people like, duh, not gonna get it jabbed in me. And then everyone in the middle is like, I'm of course gonna do what I'm told. And then the people who are incredibly smart being like, I think I will wait and see the results here. That's basically what we're seeing. High school or less, they're like, I'm not gonna get it put in me. The people in the middle, the people with master's and bachelor's degrees, who the reason I think it is they're just told what to do. They're the kind of people, they're like, all right, you're going to go to high school, you're going to go to college, you're going to go get a master's degree, you're going to get this job. They don't know what to do besides listen to the media and be told what to do. And so they're just like, I'm just going to continue being told what to do because I understand vaccines are good. They've stopped things. And yes, I understand vaccines have done incredible things in the past. But then there's the PhDs, the people who are really, really smart, who have lots and lots of time in education. And I think they also are smart enough to basically say, you know what humans are. I think the smartest thing, and was it Aristotle or Socrates, one of these Greek philosophers at one point, basically someone was asked, the Oracle of Delphi, if I remember the story correctly, like, who's the smartest person in Greece? And the Oracle said, again, it was Aristotle or Socrates, but the reason was they were willing to admit what they don't know. Basically, smart people love to think they're incredibly smart and will assert how smart they are to you. Someone who I think is truly wise and smart is going to go, here's what I know, here's everything I don't know, and I want to know those things, but I'm not going to sit here and claim to be the smartest person. I'm smart enough to know that I'm not that smart, and not me, but just people in general. I think that's what PhDs are doing. They're going, I'm smart enough to know that people aren't that smart all the time, and I'll take my chances waiting a little bit. Again, I'm not trying to make this video to be a you should or you should not. I think you can probably figure out where my biases lie from how I talk and what I'm saying about each of these sources. But just think for yourself. That's all I'm asking. Please, go and look at things like this. Look at the people who are screaming, go get vaccinated on Twitter. Go and find and look at some research like that of who is not getting it, who is getting it. Read some different articles. Learn how these vaccines, not just vaccines in general, but these specific mRNA vaccines, and not just the fact that they're mRNA new technology, but what they genuinely do, what the mRNA is encoded to do in your body when it gets there. Those are the things that I think are important to know in today's day and age, in this age of misinformation and disinformation. The only person you can trust is yourself. It's really, really hard. It makes the world an incredibly lonely place when it feels like you can only trust yourself. But right now, I think that's the best thing you can possibly do, is trusting yourself. Don't put your trust in everyone else blindly. I'm going to end it there. Thank you all for watching, and goodbye.